Yo, what's going on, y'all? It's Conan. Today, I want to talk about the new look Houston Rockets, who are coming into the season as one of the top three teams in the Western Conference. They have very quickly gone from, hey, they're bottom of the barrel every season, to last year being like, okay, the Rockets are on the come up, maybe they make the playoffs next year, to being a top 2 seed in the Western Conference, to now a team that a lot of people will tell you is a legitimate championship threat. They have turned the culture around very, very fast, and it's been super impressive. And taking a look at this roster, it's good reason for why people think this is a legitimate championship contender. Going back to last season, the Rockets were really good, but extremely flawed. They were this unbelievable defensive team led by Amen Thompson, who in his second year was already in DPOY talks and finished an all-defensive first team. Fred VanVleet, who really competes on that end, Jabari Smith Jr., and the size of like a Steven Adams as well, and a Tari Eason joining Amen as the Terror Twins. It was a really, really imposing physical basketball team that beat you up on the boards, that gave you a lot of buckets on the inside from an Alperen Sengun or a Jalen Green getting downhill, and would not win games in the prettiest way, but would get the job done regardless, to the tune of over 50 wins, 52 and 30. But then once they got to the playoffs, things were a lot more difficult because scoring in the half court is much more important, and the Rockets weren't really able to do that. Their strategy was kind of, hey, let's throw the ball at the rim and try and get the offensive rebound and see what happens. And it worked sometimes, but it wasn't enough to beat the Golden State Warriors in that 7-game series. So coming into this season, the number one thing they needed to address was getting a real number one scoring option. What'd they do? They added one of the greatest scorers of all time in Kevin Durant, who sure is getting up there in age, but is still one of the best scorers on the planet. Last year with the Suns, at the age of 36, he was dropping 26.5 on 52% shooting from the field and 43% from three, while dishing out 4.2 dimes a night and grabbing 6 boards, and being one of the better defenders on that Suns roster. That's crazy. Like, a 36-year-old shouldn't be capable of doing that, but Kevin Durant just feels like he's immortal at this point. And like, he's going to be 37 going to next year. He's had some injury concerns in the back half of his career, but as of late, like last year, he only missed 20 games due to injury. The year prior, only missed 7. So only missing 27 over 2 seasons is pretty good. I think Kevin Durant has actually been somewhat reliable over the last couple of years, and having him out there as that number one, that consistent scorer, is not only going to make life a lot easier for the Rockets in the half court just by him putting the ball in the basket, but having him as a threat that everybody else can play off of is going to do wonders for them. Jalen Green was their leading scorer last year. He had some really high highs, some really low lows, but he was just way too inconsistent. And I'm excited to see what he can do over there in Phoenix, but I think giving him and the 10th pickup to grab Kevin Durant as well as Dillon Brooks is more than worth that trade. I think it was a home run decision by the Houston Rockets. They needed somebody, they got somebody, and it's going to make them way better, in addition to all the young talent they still kept in that deal, like Alperen Sengun, who at 22 years old was the best player on a 52-win team that almost won a playoff series. That's crazy. He made his first All-Star game. He got a lot better on the defensive end, was actually somewhat serviceable after the first few years where it's like, hey, he's this big liability. He held up. He's got great footwork down low. He's growing as a kind of mid-range player. The 3-ball is still definitely a work in progress, but he's also a good offensive hub big. Like, I think him and Kevin Durant playing off of each other is going to do wonders for both of their games. It's the same thing for Amen Thompson, who's already one of the best defenders in the league, but offensively, there's still a lot of work to be done. Now, he's shown great strides, and just by the fact that he's one of the best athletes that's ever existed, he is able to get downhill, finish at the rim, dunk on players, get these crazy offensive putbacks. Like, he is already an effective enough offensive player, but if you continue to see some growth with the jumper, with his ability in that mid-range area, then I think you unlock one of the best players in the world. And again, having a scorer like Kevin Durant who can help Sengun, which will then help Amen Thompson, and the way it'll just make everything more synergistic, is going to open up the game for Amen to explore that aspect of his scoring and allow him to become a more effective player, give him more space to be that just absolutely destructive downhill force that he's capable of being. I mean, imagine Kevin Durant getting double teamed and kicking to Amen Thompson, who's got a wide open runway to the rim. Like, you can't leave him open in the corner when he's that low of an athlete and he's able to play off of talents like those other two guys. You still keep Fred VanVleet, who is pretty inconsistent. There are massive ups and downs, but he is a good player, and having his playmaking, having his ability to pop off scoring wise is valuable to this team. You add Dorian Finney-Smith, who gives you another defender on this team of already really good defenders, as well as a guy who last year was a 40% three-point shooter, giving them some much needed spacing to open the game up even more for, again, Amen Thompson, Alperen Sengun, guys like that, even Steven Adams, as well as Clint Capela, who they also brought in. So now they've got three big bruising bigs with Adams, Capela, and Sengun. It seems like they really want to lean into some more of that double big lineup, which was by far the most effective thing for them against the Warriors last year in the playoffs. I'd be stunned if this isn't the best rebounding team in basketball. I think that's going to be pretty clearly the case. And obviously that's super valuable, but even more so that you have Kevin Durant to now give extra possessions to. Like last year, you were getting offensive rebounds, and if it wasn't a put back up and in, it's like, okay, can Jalen Green create something or Fred VanVleet? Now it's Kevin Durant that you're going to be getting like 14 extra possessions a game. It feels like 4 at times. We've got Tari Eason, who's another great defender, another monster on the glass, someone who can knock down outside shots. Jabari Smith Jr., who continues to show a good bit of growth, and I think this year has the chance to really pop off and be this integral high-level role player for the Rockets, whether it's in the regular season or deep into the playoffs. There's just so much to like about this team's rotation. They are deep. They are incredible defensively. They are better offensively. They've got a great coach in Ime Udoka who knows how to utilize these guys. This is a juggernaut of a team. Really, the only place I'm like kind of concerned is backup guard, because right now it's like Reed Shepherd, who was just a top 5 pick last year, and I liked him a lot coming out of the draft. I felt like he could be a contributor from day one, and just ultimately wasn't ready for the Rockets last year. I'm hopeful he can be ready this year. They're going to need him to, because the backup point guard right now, it's either Reed Shepherd or Aaron Holiday, and obviously Amen Thompson will get a lot of those reps too as that backup ball handler, but he's also still growing as someone, especially when it comes to the handle, and I think as that improves, he's going to be better in the point guard spot. But for the moment, like, they could use traditional guards more so, and if Reed Shepherd isn't ready, then things become a little bit scarier in that regard. Like, Aaron Holiday's fine, but he's probably not the ideal backup guard, so they might have to add somebody at the deadline if Reed Shepherd's not working out. But I mean, in an ideal world for them, they'll just get decent production from their 3rd overall pick from a year ago, which I don't think is too crazy to expect at all. They added Josh Okogie, who I actually think is an interesting piece as well at the wing spot. He's not going to do anything crazy, but he's been a pretty good role player for a few years now. It's just a really good team. It's just a really, really good team. Like, Jae'Sean Tate, I don't think he's going to play that much, but he's still there. I mean, you talk about like their top 8, top 9, not many teams in the league that come super close to what they're able to do. Now, again, they are still really young, so maybe some inexperience could lead to them flaming out in the playoffs this year. They did get, again, experience last year, but they haven't been on like any type of deep, sustained run quite yet. But we did just see the Thunder win a championship as the 2nd youngest team to ever do it, so anything's possible because KD's been here and Ime Udoka's been to an NBA Finals. Like, they have guys that have been there and done that. Maybe another question to ask is, Kevin Durant capable of being the one option on a championship team this late into his career? I think that is a very viable question to ask. I think that's fair. I think he is. When you give him a roster that is this talented, that is this good defensively, I think for sure. I do still think there could be some growing pains for this team in the half court offensively, like KD, Dorian Finney-Smith. The growth from young guys is going to make it easier, but talent-wise, they still don't match up with like Oklahoma City when it comes to scoring in the half court, or definitely not Denver with what Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray and all those guys are able to do. Like, that's probably their big weakness still behind those top 2 teams, but when you can just also bludgeon teams on the boards and be so good defensively. I mean, last year, Oklahoma City wasn't even that good offensively at times, like especially when it comes to the 3-point shot. The Thunder were one of the worst 3-point shooting champions in a little bit. Like, you can still win in this league, even if you're not perfect on offense, if you were just this ridiculous defense. Now, the Thunder's was all time. I don't know if the Rockets are going to be all time the way the Thunder's was, but it's going to be really, really good. So we'll see where they can go. If I had to rank them, I'd have them 3rd in the Western Conference right now. But the fact that they're at this point, after where they were a few years ago, y'all remember when it was like Steven Silas was their head coach and they're going on these crazy losing streaks and they're bottom of the conference again and again and again, and it feels like they're never going to break out. Then they bring in Udoka, and suddenly a few years later, they've gone from bottom of the barrel in the West to a legitimate championship contender, if you ask me. That is such crazy progression in such a little amount of time. And they don't have to get it done this year. Like, sure, Kevin Durant is going to be 37 next year. It's ideal to get it done as soon as possible, but I really don't think Kevin Durant is going to have major regression for at least a couple more seasons. He's not going to always continue to be like the most efficient scorer in the sport, but he's going to be in that conversation. I don't think he's going really anywhere anytime soon, as long as he stays healthy, which, you know, fingers crossed, knock on wood, that he does. But yeah, this is just a really, really good basketball team. I wouldn't mind them at some point upgrading from Fred VanVleet to find someone a little bit more consistent, but like, they're so capable of doing that. They still have so many assets to make this team better too. They only gave up one Suns pick out of the 3 that they had control of in the Kevin Durant trade. They've got so many assets, such good young talent. They've put themselves in easily one of the best positions in the league. I think the Kevin Durant trade was a stroke of genius. I love them bringing Dorian Finney-Smith. Clint Capela, a little bit more confusing, but again, I guess they really want to lean into that double big thing, and Steven Adams does have injury concerns. I think they've had a great summer. I think they've had a great few years, and I think they're going to be one of the best teams in the NBA next season. So those are my thoughts on the Houston Rockets going into next year. Let me know down below in the comments, where do you rank them in the West? Do you have them number 3 like I do? Do you have them 2? Do you have them 1 even? Do you think they're below top 3? Do you think the Kevin Durant trade is being a little bit overblown? Could you see them taking some regression from where they were last year as a defense? Just any of your thoughts on the Houston Rockets. I'm super intrigued to know. Leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on future uploads. I appreciate y'all. I'll see y'all later. Real one, say it back.